Okay, hi you guys. It is Angie from Beauties and the Bigfoot. And I did not go for my walkabout today. I had to go to my granddaughter's Christmas program. She was singing in an adult choir. She was the youngest one singing in the choir, so proud of her. She's got an amazing voice. And today, what I want to talk to you guys about, and I've been meaning to do this video for a couple weeks, but I work for the post office and it's Christmas time and we got nailed with packages and snow, so it just wasn't happening. We're going to talk about Hocking Hills. Number one, the reason for that is because I had a friend of mine from where I used to live, one of my old neighbors, who told me that her and her husband had an encounter in Hocking Hills. So that got me digging into the encounters in Hocking Hills. And her encounter was in June of 2025. And it was about, she'd say around 10 at night, and she was outside of where they were staying and she was smoking a cigarette, and she heard tromping through the woods. Now, she's never saw anything because it was dark outside. She's been a hunter and a fisherwoman her whole life, so she knows what the sounds of the forest should sound like. And where they were staying, the property backed up to Hocking Hills State Park. So she said she heard bipedal footsteps, calmly, not thrashing, not breaking trees, not pushing trees down, just walking calmly. And it probably knew she was there because of the cigarette smoke. It probably smelled it. They have excellent smelling abilities. So that was her real quick encounter. So that led me to digging into more Hocking Hill stories. So that's what I have for you guys today. So we're going to go through this. I have three encounters, and then one report from the BFRO about the Class A and Class B sightings. So I just pulled that up because I thought that was interesting. That goes back to all the way to May 1979. All right, so let's get started, and then at the end of the video I'm going to tell you guys what was been going on around here because it's interesting. And I just had another incident last night, so we'll get to that at the end of this. So hopefully you guys will stick with me for all this. Okay, this comes from National Forest with Emily Fleur. Emily Fleur, the creator of the Forest Fleur, had dedicated her life to unraveling the mysteries of Bigfoot, combining education with an active pursuit of the creature. Her encounter in the Oregon Mount Hood National Forest exemplifies her passion for the Sasquatch phenomenon. During a 3-month research stint in the forest, Emily immersed herself in the fieldwork along with other Bigfoot researchers. Her most memorable experience came during a nighttime investigation, of course. Walking through a known hotspot, she observed what she believed to be a Sasquatch. I do believe that I saw a Sasquatch out of the Mount Hood National Forest. It was nighttime and I couldn't see many details, but I did see the classic shape. It passed between two trees and sort of blocked off the moonlight. Emily recalled during our conversation. Despite her belief, Emily hesitated to label the sighting as definitive evidence, given the limited clarity of the object she observed. However, the most compelling thing that I experienced were the vocalizations, she explained. Over the span of 24 hours, Emily and the team encountered sounds and behaviors that defied easy explanation. It sounded like someone banging two rocks together, Emily described. It didn't sound like a woodpecker or something nailing something. It had that sort of tone. Intrigued, she crouched low. The following night, Emily and her team ventured further into the forest along desolate logging roads. Stepping into the pitch black of the Mount Hood wilderness, a team member performed a Sasquatch call known as the Ohio Howl. To their astonishment, a response came almost immediately. Sure enough, we have a response. It was a high-pitched whoop. Then he, another Sasquatcher, calls again, and sure enough, a Bigfoot responds again. On the third call, a deeper vocalization answered from a different direction. So there goes back to they surround you. At times, where there's one, there's usually more. The power within these vocalizations, there's just no other animal that can come that close. There's almost a sort of double tone in their vocalizations. Emily reflected, hearing it in person changes your whole perspective on things. It's deep. You not only hear it with your ears, you feel it in your body. I've heard the whoops, I've heard the yells, I've heard the owl calls. You not only hear them, you feel them. Emily's encounter highlights the elusiveness of Sasquatch and the challenges of collecting irrefutable evidence. Her experiences embody the tantalizing mix of mystery and science that drives Bigfoot research. So that is Emily's, and it doesn't say how old Emily was, and I didn't bother to look that up because I don't think that's relative. So the next thing I have are the statistics of the, this came off the Hocking County, Ohio Geographical Index, and it's reports that were reported to them. Starting in May 1979, Class A, family has encounters with a large hair-covered creature just on the edge of the Wayne National Forest. Then we have October 1980, Class A. Hunters have several encounters near Ash Cave State Park. July 1998, Class A. Sighting by a woman visiting an old rural cemetery near Logan. Yes, they are known to frequent around cemeteries, and that's something I'm going to have to dig into to find out what it is about the cemeteries that draw them. And I think in my mind the reason why they would go by the cemeteries is because they're not traveled often, so they have a better chance to be hidden. And then August 2011, we have another Class A sighting. A Bigfoot caught staring at a lady with her puppies in Hocking Hills. Now, Class A sightings are sightings. They're visually seeing the Bigfoot. Class B sighting, June 2017. Possible footprint found near Rockbridge State Nature Preserve. August 2017, Class B sighting. Possible track and cast off a trail near the Hocking River. Okay, so that's that. And then this comes from the Bigfoot Festival in Hocking Hills. So this is one of the stories that came out of that weekend. Let's see here. Passerby Cassie Atkins and Reagan Hodge of Bainbridge, Ohio, heard that podcasters were looking for Bigfoot antidotes, and Atkins cheerfully volunteered. "We've got a Bigfoot story," she said, "from Thursday before last. We have it on video too. We were kayaking and he threw a rock at us, a big rock. Naturally, she was pressed for more detail. She said she and Hodge had been kayaking on Paint Creek Lake and stopped briefly to rest. Both of us have had this kind of weird feeling," she recalled, "and we were both like, we need to leave because we don't feel comfortable." She said they paddled away from the site, just meandering, enjoying, and going slow, and all of a sudden there were no birds, and you hear foot, 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 foot. You hear the stone hitting the leaves as it's coming towards us. We didn't see the creature, but when he threw it at us, you could hear it kind of coming through the trees, and then it lands between us. And we are definitely going to get this on the air, Lindsay enthused. Atkins added that Sasquatches seem to be thick on the ground in the area where she lives and can often be heard knocking on trees and grunting at each other. "We actually have a hill that the locals call Bigfoot Hill because there are so many. And according to Lindsay, stories of people having stones heaved in their direction by Bigfoot are quite common." As Lindsay escorted Atkins and Hodge into the tent to record their account, Burnett shared some more of the podcast, which he was a sponsor, but is still a much more fun project than a money-making venture. And then he says, if you look at Bigfoot, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think it's 50, 60, 70,000 people in the last 50 or 60 years that have reported something throughout the United States. And if you want to look bigger, similar stories are happening around the world. And here's my point. If you get a family together at Thanksgiving and tell them a story, a true story, by Christmas, they won't be telling the same story. Here we have 50, 60,000 stories all over the United States, probably spread out over a long period. You can explain away 70, 80, maybe 90% of them probably, but everyone, I don't know that we can do that. Am I skeptical? Absolutely. But there's too many people telling similar stories for there not to be anything there. And that was it for her encounter. Okay, and then we have another one out of Hocking Hills. Young couples chilling Bigfoot encounter in Hocking Hills, Ohio. And this was posted on Facebook by Squatchable.com on February 28th at 2024. A young couple's camping trip to Hocking Hills, Ohio takes a frightening turn when they encounter what they believe to be as a Sasquatch. Danny and Eileen, both nature lovers, decided to take a weekend camping trip to the picturesque Hocking Hills. As they were hiking back to their campsite, a large branch suddenly crashed to the ground behind them. They couldn't see where it had come from, but they continued on their way. To their surprise, they came across another large branch blocking the trail, even though it had not been there before. As they cautiously made their way through, They heard branches breaking behind them, and Eileen swore she saw something moving by a large tree. Back at their campsite, they were joined by other campers and settled in for the night. Suddenly, a voice sprang out from the woods claiming to have seen Bigfoot. Some people laughed, but the man genuinely seemed scared and insisted on leaving immediately. Danny and Eileen exchanged worried glances, but decided to continue their hike the next day. As they were hiking, they spotted something in the distance that looks like a bear, bent over a dead deer feeding on the carcass. Eileen gasped, and the creature looked up at them, revealing itself to be a Sasquatch. The towering creature stood up on two legs and began to charge towards them. Danny and Eileen turned and ran away as fast as they could back to their campsite with the creature hot on their heels. Once they reached their campsite, they quickly packed up their gear and told the other campers what happened. With the image of the bloody Bigfoot burned into their minds, they jumped into their car and drove away and vowed never to return to Hocking Hills again. This was interesting because a lot of people, when they have an encounter like that, get scared and they will never go into the woods again. And this is what Michigan Cryptids whole channel is about, is helping people to get over the fear so that they can go back into the woods and not lose their love of nature. Now, mind you, in the last story, if this Bigfoot wanted them, he could have easily took them. He was just running them out of the area because he was trying to eat his dinner and he got disturbed. So you have to remember, again, these are beings living in the wild, okay? They don't run by our standards. They don't run by our laws. They have their own set of rules. And again, if he wanted them, he would have got them. He just wanted them out of there so he could continue to eat in peace. So that leads me to what's been going on around here. It must have been 2 weeks ago, as you all remember, or if you're new, you might not know, I have a spare bedroom, and it's a corner bedroom, and I leave my windows open. I pull the shades up, and I leave it open, and I turn the TV on. The TV is positioned in the corner, so you can see it from both windows. And I leave that on for the Bigfoot and for the dog man to watch. So I had went in there, and it was kind of moonlit out, so I was staring at the one window which faces east and just kind of looking around to see what I could see. And I was just looking there, and then I pulled the shade down. I had already turned the TV off. I hit the TV first, and then I pulled both shades down. So I went over to the other window, which faces north, and I was looking out that window. I didn't see anything, so I pulled the shade down and I went to bed. I get up the next morning, and I have a lot of natural light in this house, and I love it. So one of the first things I do before I leave for work is I open all my shades. So I went in there to open the shade, and both shades were already opened. And I specifically remember closing them because I stared out each window and then pulled each blind down. So that is something that I have never experienced. I have never experienced their telekinesis of moving objects like that. Now the TV was not on, and I do not recall being woken up by hearing any TV noises that night, nor do I remember being woken up by the sounds of the shades being pushed up. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know what they did. They were either not done watching TV or they were practicing using their abilities and put the shades up. I'm not exactly sure what happened. And somebody did ask me, did they zap in to the room maybe and put the shades up, or did they do it from the outside? And I said, well, I don't think they zapped in because I did not feel any energetic signature in there, and there would have been a leftover, and there was no smell. And I know when Olaf has zapped in here before, he's left a smell. It's very faint, it's not strong, but he has left a smell. So I'm trying to think of, it seems like there was one middle thing. Yes, the other thing that happened, I've had a new car for 3 weeks. It's a different color than the one I've had. And as I was backing out, must have been Monday or Tuesday of this past week, when I go out and I start my car, I say good morning to him, unlock the garage door, start my car up, hit the opener so the door is open, come back in, grab my stuff, get my coat, go back, get in my car. As I'm backing out, as soon as I put that car into reverse, bang, I got a hit on the back of my car. And I thought, oh, maybe, I don't know what that was. So then I back out and I get a hit on the rear side of the car. It was on my tailgate when I got in my car and I put it into reverse. Now, mind you, I'm looking in the rear view camera and there's nothing that would explain why that bang happened. Not a thing showed up on that camera. So then when I back up, I'm trying to think, it would have been on the passenger side where my gas tank is. There was another bang on my car. And I look and I don't see anything. I can't see anything. And I think I've told this story before where I went to back up out of my garage and my backup camera says somebody is behind my car and not to back up. And then also another thing that hasn't happened in a long time, which thank God, because it's really freaking annoying, is when after I reverse and I go into forward and I hit my garage door opener to put my garage door opener down, there's several times when that garage will go back up, like 5 or 6 times for no reason. And I always thought, oh, it's got to be a spider web or something like that. And then you clean the spider webs or debris or whatever away and it's still doing it. So now I'm wondering if perhaps that wasn't them sticking a leg under there or sticking an arm under there to make the garage door go open, because you got to remember their sense of humor is different than ours. They find things that we would normally not find funny. So the third thing that happened around here, I found he loves to leave that paper pine stuff on my doorstep, and I had a big piece, probably about this big, that was just left on there sometime this past week, maybe Tuesday, I'm not sure. But usually by now I have all my Christmas lights up and everything is lit up, and I didn't get that done in time. I hang icicles across the front of the house. I hang net lights on the bushes, and then I have 2 candles on the side of the house and then 2 trees on the front. So my daughter had a package delivered here today, and I went out to get it, and there shoved in the snow is a tree looking branch. So I was like, oh, they're missing the Christmas decorations that I put out there, because I always put 2 small Christmas trees in a pot with the red Santa hats on them, you know, for the Yule type thing. Just like this lady right here. You know, I throw a hat on her, and I throw a hat on all of my trees. I have one in the spare bedroom, and then one in the front window, and then one in the corner over here. And I put Santa hats on all of them instead of stars, because I just like the look of it. I think it looks nice. So that was what happened. I thought, okay, I get you, but it's cold today, so I'm not doing lights today. It's supposed to be warmer, you know, early in the week or later on in the week. So we'll see if I get done, if I get the lights out or not. But I think they do enjoy the lights. And I did get him 2 solar Christmas trees on stakes to put out by his gifting table in his art room for Olaf. So I need to get those out there too. I just haven't had a chance. We'll do that this week. It's okay if it's only out there for a week or 2. It doesn't matter, as long as it's out there for him. And I do have 2 bulbs that I hang on the Y stick. I will go do that out front that he put in the ground. So that is what has been going on around here. And if you guys have any encounters that you would like to share with me, you can send them to beautiesandthebigfoot@outlook.com. And next week I will try and get out and do another walkabout, because I know there's got to be footprints out there somewhere, because I usually find at least one in the winter, if not more. So we will check that out. And thank you guys to all the new subscribers that have come, and welcome. I hope you guys enjoy my channel, and I try to show you both sides of the coin. I try to show you structures that look like it could be Bigfoot made, but it's actually human made. And then I show you the Bigfoot structures too, and the footprints. And I'll tell you if I don't know what it is, or if I do know what it is, because by all means I'm still learning, just like you guys are, even though I have the daily interactions with them. And it's an ongoing process. So I hope you guys enjoy this channel and have a great Sunday, and we will talk to you soon.